for all you've done for me. Things so undeserved, yet you gave to prove your love to me. The voices of a million angels cannot explain my gratitude. All that I have ever hoped to be, I owe it all to thee. So to God be the glory, to God be the glory, to God be the glory for the things He has done. With His blood, He has saved me, and with His power, He has raised me. To God be the glory for the things He has done. Just let me live my life and let it be pleasing to thee. And should I gain any praise, let it go to Calvary. Oh, with His blood, He has saved me. With His power, He has raised me. To God be the glory for the things He has done. Now will y'all sing with me? To God. To God be, yeah, to God for the things He has done, for the battle He's won. God be the glory. To God be the glory. To God be the glory for the things He has done.
Everyone get ready. Get ready, because the next voice you will hear, well, you already know, because now is the time. We call who was Senator Barack Obama, our president. And now is the time. Please come forward, Supreme Court Justice Michael Rivers Morgan.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I hope you can hear me okay. Can you? Yes. My heart is full. And my walk is straight but a little wobbly. Because I'm just so touched by this outpouring of support. Thanks to all of you for coming out for such a wonderful occasion. I understand there's no guest speaker. Because they said you be your own guest speaker. So while there's no timer, I understand on me, I nonetheless won't just babble. I don't have any notes, but I am going to move in such a fashion that is deliberate. I didn't quite know all that was going to happen tonight. The committee kept a lot secret from me. So I'm going to gauge to the best of my ability, using firstly the program to help guide me. And then because you never know how you're going to feel when your heart is full, no need for me to try to put words on paper because they weren't going to do any good anyway. So I'm going to do some things with the program, and then I'm just going to speak from the heart. I thank this great committee for feeling as though I was worthy of having a judicial retirement celebration. And I appreciate all of you for feeling that I was worthy enough for you to come and spend your precious time, effort, and attention to such a cause. I am humbly here, and I thank you for it. This is a beautiful facility, and Dr. Singleton, thanks to you for allowing us to be at this house of God, to have this opportunity. So thank you and the Martin Street family, the officers, the members, for allowing us to come. Also, I want to thank Wanda Michael, who is in charge of all of this beauty that we are experiencing physically today. I thank her for all of the trappings of beauty that we see here in terms of the decorations. A little scary for me to see my picture hanging out of cupcakes. Yeah. And I must admit, I got my chest poked out a little bit to see a backdrop with my name on it. Never had such. But that's part of what she has done to make this such a beautiful occasion aesthetically. Craig Crew. So thank her and her crew for that. And speaking of crews, I want to also thank this wonderful wait staff and the cooks, and please help me thank them. And these young men who have been a part of escorting us tonight from the Wake Men's Leadership Academy. Young men, please stand up. Encourage them. Stand up and salute them. What wonderful young men. So thankful to them for giving their time and the sacrifice. It's on church ground, so I can say it. Train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he shall not depart from it. So I thank Xavier King, the Leadership Academy's principal, and I also thank those that are involved with all of this in terms of the wonderful leadership of them, including Joyce Bailey Stevens, who is a part as well. Stand up, Ms. Stevens. Thank you. She's in the house. Thank you. And also, speaking of children, one of my favorite groups anywhere, of all time, the Martin Luther King Jr. Children's Choir. Aren't they sensational? Yeah. Under the leadership of longtime friend Randy Shepard. I appreciate them so much for taking their time and talent to be here. And my homeboy back in the back on the sound system, Bill Sidbury, and Jan Sinclair, who was one of the first to welcome me. He's in the back. He's waving. Thank you, bro, Bill. He's one of those that helped raise me back in the day in New Bern. And we're still standing decades later. God is good. I want to thank also the musicians, the musician of the keyboard and the musician of the voice. I didn't know much about the program, but I was afforded the opportunity to select 2 songs that inspire me and keep me going. And let me say, my young brother Cade and my sister Miss Barbara, y'all slayed those songs. Thank you so much for that inspiration. Brother Tony Knox, Grand Bosnus Knox, we didn't know what we were going to do when our mistress of ceremonies was not able to be here with us tonight due to something unforeseen by her. I knew who we could call, and whenever there's a call to this great man, he always answers. So Brother Grand Bosnus, Dr. Antonio Knox, thank you. A wonderful job as always, and can't thank you enough for your friendship and support. Yes, Dwight Spencer was the one who felt as though, for whatever reason, shortly after I retired, that the community would come together to want to celebrate my judicial career. I didn't think anybody necessarily would show up. But I forgot the power of Dwight Spencer in the moment. He knows everybody, does everything, and with such a wonderful gift of community love and his persuasive abilities, he said, Mike, let us do it. And I said, if my wife will agree, because I've been trained that way. And so Dwight Spencer, thank you for your vision. Thank you for feeling that I was deserving. And thank you for all of this. And my brother, Tim Key, thank you for making me sound better than I deserve. Thank you for being willing to give the introduction. And thank you for capturing what I've tried to be and making it sound as good as you did. Thank you for that. And to the young Mr. McCullers, talking about youngsters. There's certain things I'm not going to get into with any detail tonight because this is not the time or the place. This is a celebration of my judicial career and nothing else. But I do want to say, if you like to go on YouTube and you want to see a superstar in a video that just happens to be linked to me these days called Hard Steps. He leads it, and he's great. It's a silent film, so to speak, but he acts it out with his verbal expressions, his facial expressions like nobody else could. Young man, I'm proud of you, and I thank you. Let me have all the judges stand up, including that young man's father and everybody else that's a judge. Please stand up. I thank all of you for your judicial service and your service to the people of North Carolina and inspiring me. And while I'm no longer on the bench, thank you for continuing to make sure that justice reigns supreme and that there is indeed justice for all. And all candidates for elected office, whether you just stood as an elected official already, but you're doubling back to want to serve some more, and anybody who wants to serve and have offered themselves, please stand up. Those candidates. Thank you for your willingness to serve, whether you want to serve some more or whether you want to begin to serve in a new capacity. Thank you for your willingness to serve and to make North Carolina, Wake County, Raleigh, or wherever you may happen to be in that respective jurisdiction, all that it can be. Thank you for your willingness to serve. Those that rendered anything else on this program, I want to thank you very much. Those that are members of the cloth, those that are involved in any other way with the success of this program, I thank you for it so much. I did not realize that this was a cast of thousands until I looked in the program and saw so many people that were involved in the planning, the sponsors, the contributors. I don't know if I'm going further than I'm supposed to, but I want to make sure it gets done, because that's just how I do. So if you are a member of the Retirement Celebration Planning Committee, please stand up so I can thank you and we can see who you are, and thank you for a great evening. Thank you for a wonderful affair. To those who are sponsors or representatives of sponsors, please stand up so we can thank you, and I can personally thank you for making this event possible. Please stand up as a sponsor. I thank you for your contributions as a sponsor. And those that are in the contributor section, whatever you've contributed, please stand up so we can recognize and I can personally thank you. Please stand up. Thanks to all of you. To those who gave tributes, colleagues, friends, and family, I've learned from all of you that paid tribute to me. All of you have poured into me who paid tributes. You have said what your observations were of me, but I want you all to know that it is mutual admiration. I have learned and been stronger and better because of all of you. Judge Craig Kroom, thank you for mentoring me, just as you say I've mentored you. And I want folks to know that analogy that you gave, that aspect of when we would throw the doors open. Two courtrooms were side by side, courtroom 4B and 4C. And if we held the bathroom doors a certain way, there was one restroom in between the two courtrooms. If we threw open the bathroom doors on either side, we could see each other on the bench. And every once in a while, we'd look at each other and give each other a nod, because he was in one juvenile court and I was in the other juvenile court. And with that nod, we'd say to each other, every juvenile that's coming through Wake County this day is coming between the two of us, and we'll make sure that what needs to happen for them in their futures will happen. Elder Harden, thank you for allowing me to serve you when you were the pastor at Rush. You've helped my walk so strongly, so vividly, so strongly. And I thank you not just for being my pastor and now my elder, but also for being my friend, my confidant, my inspirer, my encourager. And I just thank you for your leadership as my shepherd. I appreciate that so much. As you have moved forward, there's been somebody else to come into the pulpit, and that is none other than Reverend Dr. Paul Atlas. He is now leading the flock as you lead the overall Raleigh district. Now he tends specifically, Dr. Atlas does, to Rush. And so Dr. Atlas is here, my fantastic Rush Metropolitan AME Zion Church, 554-556 East Cabarrus Street, Raleigh, North Carolina, 27610 is in the house. Y'all please stand up. My Rush Church family. Thank y'all. I love my church family. And thank you all for continuing to support me as you do. Terry Stewart, it's interesting how you recalled the hesitation in my voice when you said, when you asked if you could join me when I go up to the Supreme Court, could you join me? The hesitation was never the thought process of whether or not you were coming with me. You were coming with me. The hesitation was the fact that you had so much optimism in my uphill battle to win a statewide election, because you asked if you could go with me a month and a half before the election. So the hesitation wasn't whether you would go. The only hesitation was what you knew that I didn't know at the time. But that's the optimism and the spirit that Terry Stewart's always had when she worked with me. Always buffing out my rough edges, making my work look better than it deserved. And I thank you not only for what you've always seen in me, but that you've always lifted me up and always made me feel like I was better and more super than I ever was. But I thank you for being you. And thank you for being with me all those years. Mm-hmm. Brother Jeff Simmons. Where is he? Did he have to go? He was the best man for Audrey's and my wedding. He's known me from way back, and what an inspiration as a lawyer, with my budding career as a lawyer before I became a judge, just being a friend, a fraternity brother, my doubles partner, my on-the-road roommate when we go to Omega events. He's forgotten, thankfully, more than he'll remember. People talk about the ride or die. People talk about the road dog. For me, that's Jeff Simmons. And Grand Boston's Tony Knox, thank you for being such a role model for me. You have been so much to me in terms of being my leader, my confidant, my go-to when I need to talk to somebody on all kinds of levels. You've been there. And I thank you and Angie for being there for Audrey and me. It means so much to have you in our lives, and I thank you for everything. And thank you for tonight, as always. I put God, family, and friends in my dichotomy of priority. And with that, I give God all the praise and all the blessings, because I'm so blessed. To whom much is given, much is required, and I'm so thankful. I've got family here, and I've got 4 siblings. Gary's not here tonight. That's the knee baby, as we say in the country. But my blood siblings are here. I've got my sister, as I go in order of age, but certainly too smart to tell age. I've got my sister Lisa in the back. Lisa, please stand up. Stay up. I've got my brother Robbie here. And I've got my brother Mark present. I'd be nothing without them, because they saw me from Church Street in New Bern to West Street in New Bern to Hazel Avenue in New Bern, and then shipped Big Brother off to be all that he could be. And I thank them for always believing in me and always being with me every step of the way. They've let me be Big Brother, but I've always been proud when I've met folks that have said, "You're Robbie Morgan's brother. You're Mark Morgan's brother. You're Dean Morgan's or Lisa Morgan's brother." They make me so proud that I can be identified in that way, just like it gets identified sometimes as them being my younger siblings. I thank you all, and I love you all so much. Thank you. And my sister-in-law, Trish, is here. Please stand, Trish. You like a sister. You know that. And Mark's family is not here, but they are here in absentia because we're a close family. God works in mysterious ways. I've got 2 nieces that are here, and I want to introduce them, and that is Morgan and Kristen. And out of the 7 nieces and the 6 nieces and 1 nephew that I have, I've got the 2 of them here. And I'm so thankful that they have come to help celebrate Uncle Mike. So thank y'all for coming. I appreciate y'all. You know I love you. And I talk about my sweet nieces. I love my sweet nieces to pieces. And they never get tired of that corny text I send out, so I thank them for that too. Thank y'all for coming. Audrey and I have 5 grandchildren. 1 grandchild is playing pro basketball in France, and that's Jade. We have a younger, of the youngest, one of them all, can't be here tonight. She's got another commitment. But the middle 3 are here. And that is in order of age, Javon, stand up. And Janiyah. and Ayana. And on a Saturday evening, you know young people have all kinds of choices, but they chose to be with, and they call me this, Granddaddy Mike. So thank y'all for hanging with Granddaddy Mike in church on a Saturday night. And I had to save this young person in our family for last, because I don't want to get emotional, so I thought I'd better get through the others first. God works in mysterious ways. My daughter attends school in California. She came in town for another circumstance that occurred yesterday evening, to be exact. I was not going to ask her to come out of school and come clear cross country from California to this, because I just felt like Dad needs to encourage her to just be in school and get that lesson. But God worked it out that she's in town and she's present. And for a lot of reasons, my family knows that I'm always saying, I just want to make my family proud of me. That's one of the most guiding purposes of my life. I just want to make my family proud of me. And so to have my nieces here and to have my grandchildren here, but on a lot of different levels, I'm so pleased and blessed to have my daughter Marissa here. Marissa. I'm a thankful man. I'm a blessed man. And lastly, before I begin to close, the co-chair with Dwight Spencer is someone who makes me better, makes me stronger, makes me greater, loves me in spite of myself, and encourages me to be all that I can be. When we got married, I was 4 years away from retirement, and that was 12 years ago. And each time I've gone to her and asked her, can I do more, please? And we've talked about it, and she's always said, if you want to have it, if you want to go after it, I support you all the way, because I want you to be all you can be and answer the call. Audrey Phillips Morgan, thank you for being my wife. Thank you for being my rock. Thank you for being all that you are. Stand up one more time. I'm going to leave you with 3 things, and then I'm done. Part of being a judge is being thorough. And so I had to do all of that to make sure it got done. Because I ain't want y'all leaving out of here saying it didn't get done. But 3 things I want to leave you with. Elder Hardy rubbed off on me. Yeah, I've been in churches all across this state. Pastor Singleton. I write down in 3s now, and I also think in 3s. So, 3 things I want to leave you with. Number 1, the justice system is not a perfect system, but it's the best system ever devised by mankind. There's a lot about justice that needs to improve. Yes, racism still exists in America. Yes, classism still exists in America. Yes, favoritism still exists in America. And whatever plagues America whatever plagues North Carolina will, as a result, plague all of its institutions, and yes, that includes the justice system. But we all have to make sure that we do all that we can to make sure that justice prevails for everybody, and that whatever we can do to improve the justice system and all of our systems in America and in North Carolina, we need to make sure we do our best, have patience, and have the fortitude and the strength and the courage to understand we can do it if we all pull together in unity. That's number one. Number two, as I've gone along this journey of being a judge, I've had a number of people stop me on the street and say, "Judge, I was in your courtroom." Or, "Judge, do you remember me?" And when that first started, I used to be a little bit apprehensive. At times even scared. Like the time when I was in the food line on Southgate Drive, 10 minutes before closing, and I was in the deepest corner of the store, right there in the meat section, just before you hit the double doors to go into the restroom. I was in the deepest part, and I had a mother and a daughter say their father / husband had been in my courtroom and that I had sent him off to prison. And they wanted me to know that. But I found out something, not only from those two women, but also from others that have stopped me along the way to ask me if I remembered them or to tell me that they were in my courtroom. Those that always wanted me to know, wanted me to understand that they were now a success story. And they did not want the last thought that I had of them to be them in my courtroom, perhaps being walked away without freedom or waiting for a probation officer to interview them. They wanted me to know that they appreciated what I did for them for whatever reason. And that now they had families, now they have businesses, now they have real experiences in life that will help them grow. Even when I was in a church in Durham 2 weeks ago, Sharon, a woman came up to me and said she was in my courtroom and her then boyfriend, now husband, were in my courtroom. And now they were married. And now they had a productive life, and she went on and got a master's degree and now has her own business. It's just something about people telling you that they were before you, judges, in your courtrooms, but yet still they want you to know if we believe in them and give them some chances that they will sometimes cash in if it's an appropriate situation. And by the way, the mother and the daughter whose husband / father I sent to prison, they even thanked me. Because they said if you hadn't sent him away, he was going to die. Because of his lifestyle. But prison sobered him up, straightened him out, organized him. And when he came home, he was the best husband and the best father that they'd ever known him to be. So there's a place for all of us, no matter what our walk of life is. Just so happens to have been the judicial bench for me. And thirdly, I'm not going to give you stories that reflect reminiscences that I had. I mean, I got a million stories, as Audrey often suffers through. But there is one compelling aspect that I want to tell you that happened in my courtroom one day. It was criminal court, and I had a gentleman in front of me as a defendant. He pled guilty. And he was seated in a wheelchair. And you could tell life had not been kind to him. And once he pled guilty, I went through and did what I needed to do to find out more about him, looked at his record, and what I always would try to do was try to be comprehensive in terms of looking at what I thought I would need to consult so I could do the best for the individual. And as I looked at his background, I saw something that just had me stop in my tracks, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. He was born on October 22nd, 1955. That's my birthday. And I thought about it. I said, a lot of children were born on October 22nd, 1955. In this world, in this country, there were a lot of children born. Not as many, but still a lot. On October 22nd, 1955, in North Carolina, there were even fewer born on October 22nd, 1955. But for some reason, here are two children of October 22nd, 1955, and there's one on that side of it, and there's one on this side of it. What is it that separated his journey from my journey? What was it that had me to have the favor and somehow something went awry and askew with his? I learned to judge without being judgmental, because there's a difference between the two. So that hasn't left me, and that was a long time ago. But that's the third thing I wanted to leave you with. But by the grace of God, go out. And we've got to understand that even when it comes to the least of these, that we've got to have a heart. And we got to extend that kind of sensitivity. Thank you all for coming. When I got my first judgeship, I was a state government attorney. I took a chance on becoming an administrative law judge because there was no guarantee that that judgeship was going to be there 2 years later, because it was an experiment to see whether or not those judgeships would continue. There was a sunset provision in the legislature that they would not go beyond another 2 years. But I had faith, and I stretched myself. And I said, if I don't stretch myself, I'll just stay right here. So I stretched. The sunset got lifted, and I continued to be an administrative law judge. Then I decided I was going to run to be a judge. Wouldn't make any difference what kind of judge I was, because if the people wanted to vote me out, they could do it. If I was in the wrong party that year, or if things just didn't go right that year politically. I took a chance, and I ran, and I won. But I could have been turned out in 1996. I could have been turned out in 2000, but I stayed, and I got reelected. Stepped out 2004. Didn't know if I'd ever be elected again, but I was. And then in 2016, I ran again, statewide, and I won again. If you don't stretch yourself, you never grow.
That's right.
If you don't take chances in life, you'll stay in a rut. If you don't believe in yourself and believe a higher power, as long as you decide that you're going to allow him to order your steps, you'll just stay where you are. And I knew I had to grow when, as a state government attorney, I asked for a promotion, and they told me I wasn't going to get it because I didn't have experience. I said, all right, I know my time here is limited. But as long as you step out on faith, as long as you're willing to step out your comfort zone,
Yes.
as long as you're willing to grow, as long as you're willing to put one foot in front of the other and say, I can achieve, and I'm going to stretch, and I'm going to let him stretch me, and I'm going to be all that I can be, and I'm not going to let anybody ever say that I didn't try to fulfill my destiny and be all that I could be. I'm going to stretch. I'm going to reach out and reach forward and step out. That's the only way I got to where I was on the Supreme Court. And as y'all know, I'm continuing to stretch. I don't know what God has in store for me. But whatever it is, I'm going to keep stretching. No matter what anybody says. I'm going to keep being all I can be.
Yeah.
For Southeast Raleigh, for Wake County, for North Carolina, for America, all I can be, I'm going to be. Because I want to be the best. I want to fulfill my destiny. And whatever it is, I thank y'all for bringing me this far. And we'll go further. Because wherever we go this far by faith.